The only time in history they canceled the Little League Championship for the series, because I had to be throwing 90 on a big field to bring it to that little field. What, 125 against 9-year-olds and 10-year-olds? They weren't going to have it, so they canceled the tournament.
They canceled the Little League Championship?
Oh, God, yeah.
So that you didn't pitch?
No, I didn't pitch. Nobody played. My coach said, he's pitching. We're going to win. They said, no, we're not going to play, and that was it. There was a fact, I remember looking in the clubhouse, and they're arguing, and they're two Little League coaches, you know, back in the 60s, and they're arguing, boy, it was...
Well, you bring up the 60s. When you were a little kid in Michigan in the 60s, there was this team that is credited, a baseball team is credited with stopping the racial riots of a city. And they say the 1968 Detroit Tigers, with all that was going on with Martin Luther King and equal rights, that the city would get on the bandwagon because the Tigers were winning, and it calmed the anger and the hatred of Detroit. So I guess the easy question is, when you were a kid, I take it you were a Detroit Tiger fan.
Oh, I was a diehard. Everybody in that city is, you bleed Detroit Tiger blue.
Really?
Oh, it's a, you know, you go to Florida, you watch a ball game, it's something up there. It's tough. It was in Dominican. It's vicious too. You know, I mean,
Sure.
they're just tremendous rivalries, like the Licey and the Águilas team.
Sure.
I mean, there's fights, there's all kind of stuff. Detroit in baseball, like Boston, like New York,
Really?
these are cities to watch baseball, and it's just blood and guts, man. You gotta love it.
So I know that we chatted, so go ahead. Who was your favorite player? Because he was a lot of people. This answer is a common one, because he was a gamer. Who
Oh,
was your
Rocky
favorite?
Colavito. That guy was awesome. That was awesome. And Rocky Colavito, I met him. You know.
Yeah, you got to give the story. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I
I was
love
in
this. You got to meet your hero.
I got to meet
It was-
my hero.
It was while you were on the field.
Yes, I was playing double-A ball, and I'm warming up by the side of the field, and I look over, and I see a guy. I said, man, he looks like Rocky Colavito. So I walked over there. I said, sir, you really look like Rocky Colavito. He said, maybe because I am. And I says, you are? I said, what are you doing here? He said, everybody's got to live somewhere. And I said, okay. And I got, you know, I was my idol, so I didn't ask for an autograph. I just walked away and like finished playing catch, hope I can get through it. You know, that's
Where did this take place?
in Reading, Pennsylvania, right in the
So you were in the Philly system in
Double-A
Double
ball.
A.
Yep.
And Rocky Colavito also, when he was in the minors, played in Reading.
I didn't know that.
And the reason why he settled in Reading is because Rocky Colavito got married to a girl from Reading.
Oh, wow.
So he would come home in the off season to his wife and their house in
How
Reading,
nice is that?
Pennsylvania.
I didn't know that.
Where is he living now? Reading, Pennsylvania.
I'll be
So
darned.
he's in his 80s. He's in his early 80s.
Yep.
So-
Let me take you back 1 second. I'm
Sure,
sorry, I don't
go
mean to
ahead.
do that, but I just found out, and I never knew this, that the stadium that I grew up playing in Hamtramck was part of the Negro Leagues.
Really?
Yeah, in fact, they're trying to restore that stadium as one of the last standing Negro League parks.
Well, that means,
It was built for the Negro Leagues,
wow, what year were you born?
53.
So you were born just as the Negro Leagues were actually starting to break up because all of their players were going into Major League Baseball.
Yeah. In fact,
That's a good question. Polish community, middle of Detroit.
Yeah.
You're growing up a 6-year-old in 59, 7 years old in 60. Kennedy's president, 9 and 10 years old. As a little boy, do you remember hearing that the President of the United States was killed?
Oh, God, yes, I remember everything.
Do you really?
Oh, I remember everything. I can remember everything from back then. Now I have trouble. But back then, I can remember 3 years old. First time I was in Florida was 1957. Remember getting my hand caught in a Cadillac window, crying like a baby. I remember almost drowning. They pulled me up, put me on the hot sand, and I remember waking up and I was crying because I guess I spit the water up. And I wasn't crying because I was, spitting water up. They had me pinned on this 100,000 degree sand, so I remember everything, sir.
So where were you when JFK, you got the news that JFK?
I think I was in school.
Really?
Yeah, I think I was.
Did it hit you? Because you're a little kid,
No.
because you're so young that, I don't know if you can really understand the magnitude of it.
Later on I did,
Yeah.
but, honestly, Billy, baseball was my life, and it wasn't even watching it, it was just playing.
Let me stick with this. Detroit in the 60s,
Yes.
right? We know the 68 Tigers and them winning the World Series behind McLean and Lolich.
Oh.
Were you aware of racial tensions in the city of Detroit?
No, I got along with everybody. Everybody was fine in my little school, Hamtramck. Yeah, there were schools, and we never had any of that garbage that I remember at all.
But that is in Detroit.
Yes, it's right in the center of Detroit, but I don't remember any of that. So my friends were all the same. They just, as long as they played baseball,
Okay.
they were good.
Was your school an all-white Polish school?
No.
Or what? Was there a mixture of kids?
Oh, God, yeah. I would say probably 35% black.
Really?
Yeah.
And everybody got along?
Everybody got along fine.
I love it. I didn't. If I don't know, I don't. I don't.
You know, it could have went right by me, though.
Because you were so focused.
Yeah, I was focused on baseball by school and all my friends. And
What? Let
I was
me
too
bring.
big for people to pick on, you know,
Sure.
so it wasn't like I even got involved in all that.
Here, let me go before I go back to baseball. Every kid's going to remember some scraps that they got into. Did you get into your share of fist fights? You know where?
Almost every day. Yeah, almost every day for something or other, you know. It didn't take much, you know, and let's go.
Polish short fuse, would you call it?
No, it's just, you know, when your big people try you, you know.
Ah.
So they want to fight, and I was pretty good. My dad
You're
taught
the
me,
son of a boxer.
you know, and they'd try to mess with me. I never got hit. So I was pretty good, you know.
Were you a guy that if it was one punch, you connected hard and that was the end of
no,
it?
that was
or was it
too-
a couple
that-
of rat-a-tat-tats?
That was too easy. You had to poke them a few times, you know. And usually I didn't really want to hit them too much, you know, so I'd just take them and take them down.
That was it?
Yeah, choke them till they give up. That was it.
Well, I mean, you're a boy growing up in Detroit, Michigan.
Yeah.
So it's not the, you know, it's not candy and.
No, but
and
you know
the-
what? An hour later we'd be playing basketball
Oh, yeah.
on the courts. You know, it wasn't.
That's what's called being a boy. That's what's called
Yeah.
being a guy. When you say Rocky Colavito was your favorite player, does that mean that you would follow him on the radio, watch him on TV, look in the paper for box scores? What does it mean that he was your favorite guy?
Yes.
All
That's
of
exactly all the above. I'd look at the paper when I get it. You know, I'd see what he's doing, and I'd be real excited when I see the averages and stuff. And a funny story. I liked Kaline, but he wasn't my favorite.
Okay.
I'd always hope Rocky Colavito did better. Well, after I retired, I go to Detroit to, you know, speak at one of their banquets and stuff, and I'm sitting there, and I just got in a car accident, you know, and all of a sudden somebody's talking, and Kaline comes from far away and sits in front of me and says, "Hey, Bill, how you doing?" And I says, "Oh, I'm doing pretty good now, thanks." From then on, he became my favorite.
Because he
Oh, yeah,
knew who you were.
Yeah, because he was just so aloof, or whatever you call it, that
Sure.
I thought, you know, but he's not a good guy.
Oh, he's a
Yeah.
great guy.
But you don't see that when you're a kid. You just see somebody
Sure.
that's, whoa, you know.
So you got called by the first name
Yes.
by a Hall of Famer
Yes.
from your
Pretty
hometown.
good. That's
Yeah,
pretty good.
that's not that bad. You were so focused on baseball, lots of your interests fall back on baseball, but yet your senior year, you're doing wonderful, only the season's a short season because you're up in the middle of the snow. So I believe your senior year, your team only played 11 games.
Yeah, 11 games. I was lucky enough. I think I hit 9 home runs, and I believe I hit 658. You know, it might be a little off somewhere or the other.
Okay.
But I played pretty good, and seemed like nobody was interested. So the last game, I'm sitting down on the field, and I'm taking off my shin guards. Everybody else is gone because, you know, catcher's the last one. You're tired.
Sure.
And so I'm taking off my shin guards, and Mr. Dick Roach, he comes and sits next to me, and he says, "I'd be interested in you coming to my school, you know, to play ball there, because I'm the coach." And he said, "I think you'll like my school. I'd like you and your parents to come visit." And I says, "Okay, you know, I'd like to go there."
Right.
And he said, "Don't you think you want to tell your parents?" And I said, "Oh, I'm sure they'll be happy. You know, nobody else wanted me." So I'm thinking, yeah, this is cool. So he says, "Well, I'd like to take you and your parents someplace really nice to eat."
Ooh.
You know?
You mean
I
you're going to
thought-
get to go to a fancy restaurant?
Yeah, I says, "Anywhere?" And he says, "Yeah, anywhere you want to go." I says, "Burger King." You know, and
Are you being
yeah,
serious?
and he never let me forget that either. You know, and also Mr. Groach is also became a scout with the Yankees, and now I think he's assistant general manager of the Milwaukee Brewers. And
So-
he still don't let me forget it.
If we looked him up on the computer,
You'd find genius, smartest man in baseball.
I love that answer.
That's the truth.
He did sign a player that we both know who this player is. Did he, as a scout, he signed a player for the Yankees.
Yeah, Derek Jeter.
So the scout that signed Derek Jeter is also the coach that got Nahorodny to go to his
Yeah,
college.
and if you look, if I'm not mistaken, I might have the words wrong, but just recently they showed a picture of his original scouting report. He says he'll be the next Yankee captain. This is before he even played pro ball. Future of the Yankees.
Really?
That's on the scouting report, and they just showed that on TV not too long ago.
Wow. Well, he's still, watch, all these years later,
Yeah.
from coaching you to signing Jeter, from what you said, he's still in baseball
Yeah.
with the Brewers management.
Yes, and he's a genius. That's all I can say about the guy. He did everything for me. If it wasn't for him, I'd never get a chance to play or go to school.
Well, that's a good question. So now you're out of high school. I take it that you still lived at home and you drove to college every day?
No.
Or did you sleep at college?
Nope. He hooked me up at a place there with 8 other players. We stayed in the
Oh
house.
my God, a bunch of knuckleheads living together?
Oh my God, yeah, it was a blast. You know, and we wound up going to Grand Junction for the national tournaments, and I think we lost to New York or something on one run, and wound up doing pretty good. I think like 6 or 9 home runs in Iowa and Grand Junction, and a good story though. After it was over with, you know, college was over with, and I went and played in a league called Adray League. And I come and there's a guy, Steve Barlow, I'll never forget his name. He was a great pitcher, big tall kid, could throw hard. And I remember scouts all the way around the whole ballpark, including the parents and stuff, but most of the scouts everywhere. And I thought, oh, they're here to see this guy pitch. He must be pretty good. So first time up, boom, I got hit in the elbow. No big deal, went to first base. And, you know, the game progresses, I get up again. And I think my second pitch, boom, I hit one that went over the light towers in left field. I get to second base, I look around, everybody left. It dawned on me, the draft's coming up. This is the first time it really dawned on me. The draft is coming up. They weren't here to see him. They were here to see me.
you. Feels pretty good, don't it?
Oh, choke you right up, you know. Because I'm running around second base, and now my legs are wobbling trying to get to home plate. So, yeah, touching moments.